here's what today's presentation is going to be. How you can expand the liberty movement in the demographic that you guys are not in, right? There's no way that I can help you with your community if I don't answer the question that you have. So this entire thing will be very informal, and it'll be more of a Q&A, all right? Yesterday, if you were there last night, I told you guys there's these ancient devices called pens and pieces of paper. If you have them, cool, write these notes down, because something that someone else says, right, is an issue that you're going to have with outreach in your community. It's just what's going to happen. So take notes. If you have your sweatshop phone, take notes on your phone. Write down, notes and things like that. But I can't serve you unless I can answer your question. If you ask me a question about outreach that I don't know the answer to, I will not pretend or make it seem like your question is invalid. I'll say, I don't know. Okay? So we'll just go through the question. And now, if you're not interested in trying to actually do outreach, ignore me. Have bacon, have eggs, have caffeine and all that other good stuff. This won't help you. But if you're here to actually expand the movement, this could actually help. So when I say toss your hand up, Larry, toss your hand up, you got a question, I'll answer it. If you think I'm wrong, this isn't like church. You get to stop me and say, nah, that's wrong, bro. It hasn't worked this way for me because of X, Y, and Z. All right, Larry? Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. Yep. It's never, outreach is horrible in the black church. It does not work. We never do. We've done gun classes and firearm safety classes in churches for the parishioners, but we never talked about what it was called safety. We never said firearms. We said safety classes. If your young person gets access to a firearm, so forth and so on, this is what your children should know. If we had any type of conversation about about firearms in the church, it will be always prefaced like a sandwich. Safety, firearm access, safety. But in my lived experience, no one in the they have a vested interest. That's why half of the congregation leaves if they find out that you happen to not be a Democrat. Not that you're a libertarian, but if they find out that you happen to not be a Democrat, right? The church is not leading the community in the direction it needs to go. They're horrible. They're not good at it. That's not their job. They have already gotten a financial incentive from the political party that they've already aligned with. I wouldn't go there. It's a waste of time. It's more important to commute the people that then decide to go to church and let them be force multipliers for you. Does that make sense? So if I'm outside in the street, I'm doing so it's church. Jesus was with the criminals. My friends are criminals still. I mean, maybe not violent criminals, but technically they break the law every time they sell weed, right? So if my friends are criminals and I'm giving them this libertarian conversation, and then they say, you know what, I want to get my life together. And then they go into the church. They become the force multiplier for the congregation without you being there, if that makes sense. The churches do not work for outreach. They do not. Try it. Come back and be like, damn, Maj, you were right. It does not work. The conditioning and the stranglehold that the Democratic Party has in that specific area, even if the congregation may agree with you, see them outside the church. Because the leadership is saying, this is our guy, this is our guy, this is our guy. I mean, if you want to fight against that propaganda machine, cool. Catch people outside in the parking lot. It's like the nightclub. This is going to sound crude, okay? When I would go to nightclubs to link up with amazing women, I would never get them in the nightclub. It would be outside in the parking lot after the nightclub, even though we're at the club. So if that makes sense. Question? Speak up just a little bit. Hold on, I'm gonna come over there. I'm gonna walk around. Y'all can eat. It's very informal. Go ahead.
How would you go around talking to progressive talking about the racist history of failed government policies such as gun control and the drug war?
Cool. Question was, how would I engage going around communicating about the failed policies of the drug war, as well as the racist practice of gun control, right? That's not just a cool t-shirt that we sell. It's the reality. Like, it literally was started. So it's a 3-step thing that you'll hear throughout this entire presentation this morning. It's always these 3 steps. You should write it down. I always lead with empathy. Then we get to the facts. Then we come up with the solution together, right? So his question was in essence like, how do I engage that more in more progressive rooms, or more, progressive, conservative, it's pretty much the same thing. They just got different things that they're beefing about, right? In those rooms, what reason does this so-called progressive or regressive have to listen to me? They don't even know that I know them or care about them. So if I'm leading with empathy based on listening to them first, and if they're like, yeah, man, my cousin got shot, the conversation is not going to be about the racist practice of gun control yet. The conversation is going to be empathy. How is your cousin doing? If you don't mind me asking, how did he get shot? Was it a robbery? Is he in the street? If he's in the street, the conversation talks about, that's just commerce. That's free market enterprise, right? And unfortunately, the territory has to be secured because it's a finite amount of that territory because it's illegal. And since it's illegal, that finite amount of territory that got him into that situation, here's how the government is inadvertently responsible for your cousin being shot. Because otherwise, it would just be people, hey, I have the weed right here, you have the money right here. That would just be exchange. So if I lead with empathy, I can get them back to that conversation. Empathy first. If they do not understand that you have empathy for them, they have no reason to listen to you. You are a Cowboys fan. I am an Eagles fan. Why am I listening to you? As opposed to if you go, I mean, I am a Cowboys fan. However, I do think that last play in the Super Bowl, you guys got robbed. That wasn't a hold. Now I'm a little bit more open to this person, even though he clearly wasn't raised right if he's a Cowboys fan. Do you get what I'm saying? Empathy's first. A lot of times going the other way, the conservative conversation. Conservatives, you hear this thing like, facts don't care about your feelings, right? I get what you're trying to say, but how's that been working out? Meanwhile, leftists with absolute lies are winning because they care more about the or at least assuaging your feeling as they lied to you. Us as libertarians and having this supreme ideology, we can worry on how you feel and guide you back to the actual facts, because the facts are actually in our favor. Where we fail as libertarians is we do not think about the empathy of it. That's the same thing that conservatives do a lot of times, right? Or you put one in front of the other. If you lead with the facts, facts are cold. You're the Cowboys fan. Then you're trying to get back to empathy, but you've already, I don't care, right? Empathy first, facts second. After this person has identified, hey, this is how my cousin was shot. This is what he was doing. The person, did he get jail time? Did he have a firearm? Yeah, so you're telling me that your cousin got shot because he was selling some apes, having a firearm to defend himself, and now he's potentially going to go to jail too. Government, 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 government. What type of community does he live in? Oh, he lives in Compton. Oh, so he couldn't lawfully, quote unquote, carry a firearm on his person because that community does not, even though it's the same state, California, right? If you're trying to get a license to carry in Orange County, you'll probably get provided it. But when you're in Compton, Oakland, areas where there's lots of black and brown people, you get denied for your CCW. So now he couldn't have the CCW lawfully. Now he got shot for an exchange because of preventing over territory. Now he's going to jail. Now we've established all of the empathy in the world. This person understands that I understand about them. Now we can go into the racist practice of gun control. It's breadcrumbs. If you put if you put the cart before the horse, you will go nowhere. You will go nowhere. Even if you're talking about, well, libertarians believe first, well, I don't know what a libertarian is. I don't know why you're telling me about libertarian. I just told you my cousin was shot. That combination is like, I literally have never lost a debate with like these anti-gun people with all of the money. empathy, then we get to the facts. Now we get to the solution together. That's third, right? This 3 right here, this is a complete sidebar. Anybody ever see Inglourious Bastards? Okay, you see the 3? Okay. If you didn't see it, you won't get the reference. But nonetheless, solutions. I've established empathy. Here are the facts. The person is more receptive to the facts. Now we come up with the solution together. Yo, so like, what can he do? Well, is he a convicted felon already? No. Okay, well, there's an organization called Firearms Policy Coalition that can help sue the state for telling him he didn't have the right to defend his life. That's one solution that you come up with together. Yo, where can I go to train about firearms? Well, in this state, in Sacramento, there's this place called Last Stand Tactical. There's a bunch of guys over there that know a whole bunch of stuff, da-da-da-da-da-da. The solutions become a lot easier when you make them up together after they have the facts, after you've established empathy. Every single thing that happens from that conversation comes from me asking the person, what happened? Damn, is he going to make it? Empathy, right? For weed, what weed? I know it's legal everywhere. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then we get to the facts. Then we get to the solution. Then later, the conversation is, oh yeah, the CCW thing. This is probably why he was denied. This is probably what, now we go back into the history of the racist roots of gun control. Literally started to stop black and brown people from having the means to defend themselves. Now, don't feel confident if you happen to be white, because power does what it does. It's like when they dropped crack off in the black community. It didn't just stop there. The white communities have serious fentanyl problems. Same thing. Power does the same thing. So if you're like, yeah, gun control is racist, but I'm a white dude. Nah, they're coming for your power too. We just were first. That's the test market. They're coming for your stuff too. Now you start to see if you happen to, because remind you, this is a conversation that's talking about having that conversation in demographics outside of your own. Now you have a commonality. Now that person understands that you care, they got the facts, you got a solution, and they understand that our fates are now intertwined. This is much more thorough than just saying we're all Americans. How do you say that to someone that feels like they're not even a part of the American concept? You get what I'm saying? So you have to then say, our fates are intertwined. I don't know what it feels like to get denied the CCW because I live in Orange County, Beverly Hills. It sucks for you, but however, here's how they're attacking us, the same thing on our side over here. Every single one of these steps is always going to lead you there. If you put empathy first, you can sprinkle the information in, then the facts, then the solution. So that's how I would address the conversation about the war on drugs, tied in with the conversation about the racist practice of gun control. Sure. Yeah. Right. You guys are, so her question was, how much of even though the black community is libertarian, like if you say, bro, you want more government, we don't even want the police, like leave us alone. Leave, we'll call you if we need you, right? Imagine a fireman was like riding around looking for the fires in the truck. You would be like, go back to the fire department, bro. So our communities, obviously, it's not that we're natural allies with the libertarian movement. The black community is libertarians. They just don't vote that way. Because you guys don't ever go there. That's it. Y'all just don't go there. Shit, scary over there. It's not as scary as you think. People actually think that I'm scary. Like, especially if you follow my Twitter, they're like, oh, I don't know if I should approach him. I'm like adorable. Right? And humble. Super humble. Skinny jeans. My point in saying this is when you go to that community and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm about. If y'all want to, we got a class over here. Here's something that you all should try. Every single one of you has a community center or a YMCA somewhere near your neighborhood. Get a room at that YMCA or that community center that's not in your neighborhood. And just be out there with 1,000 flyers saying, we're giving out conversations about liberty. You could say something like, do you want less police activity in your community? One question. Do you want the freedom to move about as you see fit? 2, if so, come to this YMCA on this day at this time. Print out 1,000 of those small flyers and hand them out to the people in the demographic that you're not from. The people will come up and they'll go, hell yeah, I don't want the police controlling and patrolling in my neighborhood. What's this about? You don't even have to say libertarian first. You don't. They'll ask you, well, what you like, a Republican? What you like, nah, I'm a libertarian. Well, what does that mean? Where we failed is to respect. My grandmother used to say all of the time, respect the devil. The media is the most effective devil in America. Respect the devil. They're better at the PR than you currently. They're better. And they have more time. They're ancient. Even if you're doing it better now, they have had 100 years of good work. And it's good work for them. Just got to respect the devil. They do a great job of programming a demographic to make, what they're doing now is they're making y'all look like right-wing Trumpists. I watched a show on Netflix maybe a week or two ago, right? Not long after, a month or so ago. And at the Nevada meeting where I said they're going to try to attack you, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. If you notice, they're using their media very skillfully right now. I saw this show is on Netflix. It's that popular. It's on Netflix. And the guy's like a federal agent type of dude. And his partner comes in and he's like jokey. And he's like, hey, what's up? And the guy, the super serious agent is like, tell me about such and such, whatever his name is, right? He's a white dude. And he says, oh, buy me a drink first, his friend. And then he's like, and she's like, okay. He's such and such and such, whatever the bad guy's name is. He's the darling of the libertarian right. It's literally what he says in a TV show. Remember how they used to go, he's the darling of the Republican right. This is Netflix. He's the darling of the libertarian right. It's amazing that he has not been indicted or brought in for the Russia-Ukraine interference. This is literally how they're about to start. I get away with it. I'm black. Y'all white dudes are fucked. They're about to package you like MAGA. So this is why it's very important that we got to sprinkle the room. Because it's easy if somebody comes in here and takes the picture, leftist media. They go, this is the token black dude, right? Not that they're going to listen to me. Not that Larry's been like a leading voice for libertarianism for 1,000 bajillion years. Never mind that. They'll go, this is the token black, and these are the whites that like are paid him to come here for white guilt. They'll package you that way. Do you know how they can't? If at every single table there's a different, if it actually looked like America. Hence, when you go to the community center, because this is a part of your homework assignment, and the demographic that's not yours, you might be the so-called minority in the room because the people that you outreach to say, hey, I want to learn more about how we can limit government. And then you get video and visual. They use their media skillfully. They get visuals of a sprinkled crowd, and then you post it and get everybody's info and say, I'm going to tag you on social media. They say, yo, I went to this thing. Okay, we have another meeting next month. Now the visual is more of a solid representation of what America actually looks like. They can't use their media the same way. It's much more difficult to package you guys as the darling right, libertarian right, evil MAGA conspiracy. Trump thing is over. They're going to say it. Trump, MAGA is over. They all went into the Libertarian Party. That's how they're about to package you. I see it a mile away. So if you don't change the visual of it by doing the outreach, and then what starts to happen is, again, this is a very powerful phrase that you'll have to remember, force multiplier. Not a pander, a force multiplier. Those people that you outreach to, and they go, they hear, oh, those libertarians are like the MAGA people now. And they go, no, I was just at like a meeting with them. They was like, the government shouldn't be involved in our shit. Then they become the force multiplier. You don't have force multipliers, right? So you have to literally print up the flyer. Empathy, what is impacting the black community? Gun control is racist, war on drugs, so forth and so on, over policing, right? And then find out what the narratives that they're trying to, oh, the community wants, no, we don't. We do not want the police patrolling. We do not. We will call you if we need you. So steer clear of the false narrative. Do the flyer. Do it once. 1,000 of those little sheets. Take a week of your time. Just here. I want you to come to this, man. Not legislation initially. Don't have to be legislation. Just a very simple core concept. Do you want less police patrolling your community? Fuck yeah. When is this? When that room looks the correct way, like America does, get photos and videos. Then lean people into your libertarian ideology or your, monthly or weekly meetings. The visual is good. You're using your media skillfully like they do. The messaging is on point, and you get to say, yo, I don't know, bro. I don't know the answer to that question. Let's find out. If you don't. Outreach is not a pander. Outreach is, this thing has been deliberately kept from you. I'm here to share this information with you, and if you want to fuck with it later on, you can. Make sense? Question. Nobody else? Oh, we all get drunk. No. Yes. You know who I would say did it very well? I ran as a libertarian because of Mike Heiss. He does it very well. Mike's a Philly dude. So he understands there's different cultures. When everybody in the old leadership was like canceling me from things, right? They were like, oh, he's too aggressive. He's this, that, and he said I'm a homophobe. They said I'm a transphobe. They said I'm this. They said that. They do the same thing. You white. He's a racist. You're a skinhead. Da-da-da-da. It's the same tactic, right? Mike understood it and was like, no, he's from Philly. That's like if you go to Boston, yeah, he's eating clam chowder or whatever. Like that's, you get what I'm saying? And that's a weird stereotype. But my point is, Mike understood, and Mike literally did outreach. Literally, Mike did outreach and was like, yo, this dude from Black Guns Matter is in Philly all of the time. He's from Philly. Let me go and see. Let me invite him out. Literally, I'm here right now because years ago, Mike Heiss literally did outreach. Literally. Not even figuratively. And I was like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm a Republican. I was a Republican at the time. I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? This was 2017, 2018. I was like, bro, I know about the Fed. I get it. I read The Creature from Jekyll Island, but whatever, right? Literally outreach. Literally went to the spot and was like, yo, can I call you? Can I chop it up? I told Mike no like twice. Like, fuck no, I'm not running for like, people don't even know what a city council is. They think it's like the Jedi Council or some shit. Literally outreach. He's very, very good at it. It might take shrooms though, so maybe somewhere else. Yeah. I don't know if he still takes shrooms. I'm just saying. He has before. Homicide, yeah. Yeah. So what they did, the outreach, so in Philadelphia, licenses to carry are up. So backstory, her question was the media, again. We started getting a bunch of people in Philly in 2016 to buy guns and train with them. Everywhere that we went, licenses to carry, gun ownership, all of that stuff went up just from using their media, doing small classes, and then getting good video. When we started we opened the center in 2021, everybody started buying guns again in Philly. And how they worded it was, they said, there's been a 39% uptick in justified killings. Instead of saying self-defense, self-defensive shootings. So what we did was just take pictures of it and was like, yo, we out here shooting criminals. We use the media properly, right? Like the brother that said yesterday with the Tuttle Twins books. We just reversed it. You cannot stop their media. You just got to be more, they're a big, like, warship. You got to be jet skis. Warships can't even get too close to the shore. They'll crash. You, as the jet skis, a bunch of you get to get in, get out fast. So when they use the media that way, we just reversed it, right? So when you say, like, I don't even say safe, take this out of your vernacular. Don't say law-abiding citizens. Don't say it anymore. Slavery was legal. Law-abiding citizen is like, yeah, of course we get to make him a slave. It's the law, right? Safe and responsible gun owner. I want the black community, I want the libertarian community is full of safe and responsible gun owners. You just got to have words that block the media spin. And if your visuals are not correct, it won't matter. You guys have to get more, not a pander. You have to go do the outreach, articulate the message properly, reach out to folks, get the media the pictures and video that reflect that, and ask people on camera what their position is after you've established rapport with them. Get them on camera. Yo, you'll hear this. You guys will hear this 1,000 times. Yo, I didn't even know what this libertarian shit was. All I know is what they saying is ... Then lead them into different books. The Law, Bastiat, simple read, right? Anatomy of the State, simple read. Stop telling them the names of all of this shit. Not because, oh, people are dumb, white, blacks, whatever. It's you guys are really smart. And you're well studied on things. That is not how Jesus taught. Jesus taught in simple parables because you have more stretch and universality. The person will start to go more in depth. I don't have a conversation with the beginner about calibers of firearms or rounds. It's a rabbit hole. I'm not getting into twist ratios and melanite coating. No. Safety. How do we secure this firearm if you're a young person so they won't get access to it? Very simple concepts. Let them walk down that rabbit hole on their own and continue to walk them down that journey, right? But they'll use the media skillfully to package you. Your enemy right now is media and propaganda. It's not that your messaging is wrong. You just have not put the messaging right in the right spot. That's it. And when you go there and go, yeah, nah, it's just a free class if y'all want to learn about this. Yo, so what is it? I love that question. Joe, so like, it's just a class on like how to keep the police out? Well, kind of is more about civics. But if you want to learn, come to the class. Then you start to inculcate the person in the culture. But if you go, I'm a libertarian, Rothbard, Mises, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. I don't know. Yeah, well, gun guys do it. Oh, yeah, man, it was SBR, and so all these letters and numbers. I am not steeped in this lane of study yet, right? Simple is best, right? What is it? Keep it simple, stupid, right? Anybody else? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The question was, do I see a political path to make those licenses to carry easier to get in places like Compton, so forth and so on? One is just highlighting the contradiction, right? Two, getting behind organizations that actually sue municipalities and state governments and getting them overturned. We did a brief, it's in the Supreme Court, for New York State. New York Rifle and Pistol Association against New York State for overturning Bruin. We're in the Supreme Court. It's like American history now. We just was like, here's the racist practice. Here's how it's unconstitutional. We're going to sue you. And then New York State overturned it and was like, yeah, people can carry guns, like the Second Amendment says. Then it becomes political. It becomes political because you've already done the groundwork. The people that would be voting against you on those measures are the people that you did 1,000 outreach to. And those people are like, nah, that's stupid. I'm not voting for that. It's what Breitbart said. Politics is downstream from culture. We're messaging in areas that we're not messaging in areas that we should to change the culture, and then in turn changes the politic. But in regards to overturning those things, just highlighting it, that's a cultural conversation, getting the people associated with it, and then supporting Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, highlighting those people, giving them some money because they need it, and then make them sue people. If you know a guy, that example that I gave about the cousin being shot, if he is catching a charge, especially if he doesn't have any prior convictions. If he's catching a charge for defending himself, oh, we got to put some money towards his defense. Yo, bro, sue them. America was built on and respects money and violence. So when a state does something, I want to attack their money violently. Violently. I would rather, like, even if we lose every case, if we raise $100,000 and we have a lawyer that's like, yo, these next 10 cases, and if we lose them all, the state is going to be exhausting their funds as well. Because I want to clog you up with no, and yes, we'll appeal, we'll keep going, This is the reason why I never get arrested for carrying a gun in all of these states when I tweet, hey, yeah, I'm in New York, I got a gun. Hey, I'm here, I got a gun. They know. They don't arrest me. Do you know why? Because they know I probably won't even have to pay a lawyer. And they know Firearms Policy Coalition, other organizations, they'll be like, Maj is going to fight this all the way up to the Supreme Court. I got 10 years of a rumble in me. So they go, nah, we need to make that same Teflon Don status with everybody. Everybody that you know that catches a firearms possession charge, you should get behind them to sue the municipality or state that does that. After too many times, along with the cultural shift, people start to go, we're not supporting. Politicians, they're not evil by trade. They just go with what you let them do. So if everybody's like, nah, we just don't do that, they won't do that. Until it makes sense. If they're like, oh, maybe we can get a couple more dollars out of the last bit of our constituents that believe in that, and I'll stand out and I'll say anti-gun stuff. And when that's gone, they're going to shift their tune. So suing people. You'll have difficulty getting people to sue people. That's why you got to already have the organizations that's on board that's doing that work and just funnel them to them. Bro, your rights were violated. You got shot and you were trying to defend yourself. These is my folks right here. They sue people for that. Court is amazing. Speaking of media, you notice how in all of the TV shows, every TV show that you've seen since whenever, right? They always make all of the people hate jury duty. You hate, oh man, I got jury duty. I'm going to try to get out of it. That's them using their, court is bad. Don't go to court. No, I want to, let's go to court. Let's go to court. Let's go to court. I want to go to court. Let's sign me up for court, right? No, I'm not taking a plea deal. I've never taken a plea deal in my life. No. Let's fight it out in court. Every time that the state does something in violation to your liberties and rights, gun ownership being one of them, there should not be me pleading with you, the state. It should be you pleading with me on how you're going to make this right, because your job is to actually defend my individual rights. That's your only job as government. But the general public doesn't understand that because we haven't been in the communities to do the outreach to explain to them that's how that's supposed to go. So I don't want a plea deal so you can lighten up your docket. No, we want to clog your docket all the way up. And then after a while, judges will start going, listen, guys, you guys are bringing me a lot of shit. I'm trying to go to like vacation. These gun charges, the phone calls happen. Hey, in Oakland, stop pulling them over for don't give them a gun possession charge. Stop. It's clogging the docket up. That's our job. Clog it up. No plea deals. Sue everybody. That is it's tiresome. It's annoying. But when you win, it's fun. And like, humbly, that's how we got in the Supreme Court brief. It's just with suing people. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, Black Guns Matter is American history now. And that's kind of dope. Like I got a plaque and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Any other questions? Yes. Yeah. 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 So in essence, it's the approach to, you get this a lot. When you say, yo, minimum wage, like I don't use Sowell anymore. All of y'all have probably read Sowell, right? Thomas Sowell, right? I use Walter Williams. One, he's from Philly, right? Walter Williams has a better cultural connection than Sewell did, right? So when I use those conversations, I'll use a Walter Williams as the reference in talking about how minimum wage laws have negatively impacted the community that they say they're trying to actually help. However, if I don't know what Walter Williams, I don't know any of those studies, all I hear is you're telling me that I shouldn't have $25 an hour when I have $10 an hour now. That's all I hear. You're absolutely racist. You don't want me to get the extra $15, whatever. So instead of leading with that, I lead with, I'm not familiar with minimum wage. That's what I'll say. When did the minimum wage start and what happened? They're not familiar either. They just want to know I need more resources. So I don't go, again, remember I said earlier, you guys are smart. You actually read these things. It's like if I ask y'all a bunch of questions about you guys don't know all of the smart stuff, right? But if I said to you guys, who is Big Meech? Does anybody here? Larry knows. Who in here knows who Big Meech is? Right. Nobody in here knows who Big Meech is. We'll come back to that later. Not because you're not smart, that's not your lane. So if you're telling somebody, yeah, these are racist, and they're like, bruh, I don't even know when the minimum wage thing started. When you start opening that conversation into this, when that started, was our community better or was it worse? When social programs were infused into the black community, did marriage rates drop or did they increase? I pretend like I don't know what I'm talking about to meet them there so we can walk through this process together. I don't know, bro. If the government's saying we need to do it, you think they got our back on this one? No, I don't know, bro. I don't think they got our back on this. Now let's explore it together. I do not, unless I got a book to hand them and they're already primed and open for it. The gun conversation, I lead in with questions. The economics conversation, especially if I lead with people that do not have a cultural connection to that community, right? Again, Sewell is amazing on economics and pretty much he's a genius, but he sucks at culture conversations. He does. I know, don't beat me up for saying it. It's true. It does not relate to that 20-year-old that's like, yo, give me the $25. A person that's like hand to mouth, you're talking about long term and studies that you've had that they have not had. You got to walk them through that process. Now, this does not mean that it's a missed opportunity. What that means is, what is your packaging? If someone says to me, it was racist then, but it's not now, I go, no, I can see that. I can see that. And I go, okay, so let's look at the outcomes now. Using gun control. Gun control was started to lock these people up, mostly for having firearms. It's a contradiction because the Second Amendment is very clear. Cool. Who's locked up the most by gun control now? The same black and brown people. So I take them right to the outcome. It's a fashion faux pas now to say we don't want you blacks to have guns. It's not politically accepted. Michelle Alexander wrote this book called The New Jim Crow, which deals with the prison industrial complex. And she contended that racism through slavery evolved, got smarter, and was like, well, let's just call it the prison industrial complex. Duh, right? Now, just because we can now lock up white people too, and the outcome is the same, that more black and brown people are arrested for gun possession, not shooting people, possession of firearms charges and higher sentencing, the outcome is exactly the same. I don't need to say only the blacks with the gun control thing, and I don't need to say we don't want blacks to have it if the outcome is still the same. So I walk people to the outcome, and then you reverse engineer it. This is the outcome. This is what the intended purpose of this racist practice was. Tell me what's different. Here's the contradiction. Black and brown people still locked up most for this. And if you believe this 13% of the population, so now 13% of the population, the intended target of the racist practice of gun control was this, and we're still overwhelmingly represented in the convictions of this, and it's a contradiction to the Second Amendment. There is no one in that outreach community that's going to be like, damn. Now, you'll have the guys that's contrarians that'll say, well, still, it's not racist. If I don't have a license to carry, I'm not arguing with a contrarian. target-rich environment. I'm not, when I have that guy, like if it's a group of people, when I have that guy, I'm talking to him, but I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to them. I don't need to convince him. He has his mind made up. I don't care. Y'all ever see this movie called Thank You for Smoking? It's a really good movie with Nick Naylor. He was like a tobacco industry executive. And his son asked him about arguing because he had a paper route and so forth and so on. And he said, okay, I'll show you. He's like, to argue and win, your job is to be right. And he's like, well, how do I be right? He said, well, you just don't be wrong. And he's like, well, Dad, that doesn't make sense. He said, okay, I'll give you an example. What is your favorite ice cream? And he says, chocolate. And he's go, okay, so for you, it's chocolate or nothing. He's like, yes, chocolate's the best. And he's like, well, I don't think the chocolate is the best. I think that everyone should have buttered pecan if they want, or vanilla if they want, or strawberry if they want, or Rocky Road if they want, because that is the very definition of freedom, and we in America have the freedom to yada, yada, yada. And the son was like, well, I win because you haven't convinced me. And he literally said, I'm not trying to convince you, I'm convincing them. She likes butter pecan, he likes strawberry, he likes vanilla, he likes Rocky Road. All of those people feel represented. So if they feel that I'm right because I didn't even say what kind of ice cream I like, they know that I said that Rocky Road is the right for the person that wants Rocky Road. By definition, I'm not convincing him, I've convinced them. I don't care about him. He's made the decision for himself already. The person that's trying to, this is what we have to stay away from. We are not here to convince the people that already agree with us. Everyone in this room is like, Mises, Rothbard, did. So what? To gain ground, you have to gain ground. In spaces that no one knows what you're talking about. You know the answer that they don't know yet. And in 2 years, you'll come back and that person will have more of an understanding of it than you do, if you do it right. It's the rabbit hole. So when that person is trying to convince me, nah, because every white dude can get arrested now, I then go, example, I go, yeah, that's true. That's what the state does. Like I said earlier, this was the test market. It works. We've convinced you guys that the blacks shouldn't have the guns because they're genetically predisposed to kill each other. You went along with it, and we kept encroaching. That's what they do. I then use a crude, very crude example, especially if it's a young lady. I say, hey, if I was a rapist, racist dude that said, I only want to rape this group of people, and then for the next 2 years, there's the hooded rapist, racist, Rapey McNapey. And I was only raping one ethnic group of women, right? And that's how it started. And then I rebranded, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to rape some Latin women too. Then I included them in my Rapey McNapey manifesto. Is it okay now that I can, in addition to the original ethnic group that I wanted to rape, now we're more improved rapists? Is that okay? And then they go, no, you're still a weirdo rapist. Right. Same concept. So if the person is giving me too much pushback, I'm not arguing with them. I'm going to give them crude examples that almost, if you agree with my example, everybody in the room is like, dude, are you like a rapist? Are you okay with, and that's what the state does. And you tie it all the way back to the state. But again, remember guys, we are not trying to convince. We had an argument on social media, We had an argument on social media about should we be yelling at people that we disagree with? I'm just not into it. Because I'm not trying to convince the people that have already picked a side. They're on their side, right? That 11 to 12% of America that does this on every election, that's who I want to talk to. A lot of those people can be converted and they land on the information that you have and they're like, nah, I'll just stay here now. I was raised Democrat for most of my life. Started reading about Frederick Douglass and was like, he's a what? A Republican? The Republican Party did what? They were started to do what? They were a third. So even that conversation, well, the third party can't. the Republicans are right there. They were a third party. And then I kept going and was like, oh, a lot of y'all Republicans, y'all kind of like bitches now, so you're not really about liberty and individual rights, so you keep matriculating. No one had to like yell at me to get into that concept. Someone just kept presenting the information. So when I have that person that wants to keep arguing, the only advantage I have with them is to make them kind of look silly for that 11 to 12% or all of the moderates. There are a lot of moderates or undecided in the communities that we've been avoiding. It's a lot. Literally, I am here because Mike Heiss did some outreach. Literally, right? Imagine the next 1,000 people that you guys do outreach to. And I'll end with this. This sounds like a lot. This sounds like it's difficult. It's just practice. It's repetition. Like the gym, like shooting. That's just what it is. The beautiful part is the current regime is doing most of the heavy lifting for you. They're that bad. Everybody in the hood is going like, yo, bro, I don't know about this Biden thing, bro. I don't know if, I don't know. It looks like an absolute shit show. We look bad out here as a nation. And the community that got tricked are like, nah, you know how many dudes in the hood, street hardened dudes that you would be like, yo, I hate Trump, I hate Trump. You would assume that they like, nah, this dude, because they don't know about libertarians yet. And that's beautiful, because then you introduce them to like Ron Paul or Larry, right? But they're like, yeah, I don't know about this, but I went that way. I said the same thing. How many people in here like had the hope when Obama ran? I was like, oh shit, we got it. We got him. This is our guy. This is our guy. Then he re-upped on the Patriot Act. And I was like, oh shit. There's people right now that were like, the media was skillful. We're gonna get rid of Trump. He's the evil, evil, evil. They're all evil. They don't know that though. So they was like, yeah, we gotta get rid of this dude. Got rid of him. Strangely enough, there was some questions around election integrity, but nonetheless, we get rid of him. Then in a couple of weeks, you see your gas bill. I can't have the conversation with them about OPEC producing nations and negotiation skill and all of that, but they know something's not right. It's different. The current regime is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Don't let them forget what this regime did in 2020, 2021. They forced their children to do certain things. They forced vaccinations that now 3 years later, they're like, well, you know, this natural immunity thing might be something to it. Okay? Don't let that opportunity fall. I think it was Rahm Emanuel said, don't let a good crisis go to waste. The current regime is giving you all of the crises that you need to translate to the community that's most impacted by it. In Japanese, I heard there's like crisis and opportunity is the same word. Right? Like the same word. So you guys have to use all of that stuff today. I'll give you all my email if you got any other questions. I'm telling you, it works. That's how we were able to get so many people in urban America to buy so many guns when they were like, yo, they don't even mess with the Second Amendment like that. Does that make sense? All right, thank y'all for listening to me. I'm going to have mimosas.